Every offseason, there's a player that teams are willing to take a risk on because of the player's high potential. Last offseason, it was Sam Darnold to the Seattle Seahawks. The one before that, it was Sam Darnold to the Minnesota Vikings, but you get the point. High ceiling guys who never really had a real shot to start in the league, and if they did, it did not go well. But what if I told you that this offseason's darling was Green Bay Packers quarterback Malik Willis? And it's because of plays like this. Off the play action, when Willis hits the top of his drop, he has a chance to hit Jaden Reed on the dig route, given the howitzer of an arm he has attached to his body. There are multiple defenders in the area, so he looks elsewhere. But Watson, Luke Musgrave, and Matthew Golden are also covered on this play, and the protection starts to slip a little bit. He spins away from one defender, which puts him in the path of 41, who does a great job getting outside the tackle, but he reacts to the pressure, moves up in the pocket. While he's evading the rush, the defense loses track of Christian Watson, not realizing until it's too late, leaving him wide open after fighting to find space on this scramble drill, and then Willis hits him on a rope, 31-yard gain for Green Bay. His escapability and mobility are two of his best traits. He's able to move around the pocket, get away from pressure, and either find a guy downfield or use his legs. But he's also become very poised in the pocket, staying composed and knowing when he has to run or just move up in the pocket. But before I continue, if you want more film analysis, off-season content, other types of videos, hit the subscribe button. It's free and helps me put out the content you want to watch. The play before was just as impressive. There was near immediate pressure as the center missed his blocking assignment. Willis has to run out of the pocket and wait for the routes to develop downfield, where Jaden Reed gets past Marlon Humphrey, who commits to tight end Josh Weil underneath. And Nate Wiggins is making sure Christian Watson doesn't beat him, but that leaves Reed wide open. On the run, off platform, and Malik still hits Jaden Reed right in his hands. He didn't lead him into the defensive back, where he can make a play on the ball. Great pass, found the open man while on the run. The mechanics are thrown out the window in that situation, and it's a 30-yard gain for Green Bay on a throw that seems easy, but when you're on the run like that, it makes it very difficult. And if you like Malik Willis and think he'll go higher in his passing yards more often than not next season, there's no better place to do that than on Underdog, because Underdog's the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. All I have to do is pick higher or lower on 2 day of your favorite players' projections, and you can win up to 5,000 times your money. Better yet, when you sign up with code Fanatics and you play your first $5, you get $75 in bonus fantasy entries and a gimme pick. Again, that is code Fanatics for $75 in bonus fantasy entries and a gimme pick. And this is on top of all of their amazing promos they have every day. I was just talking about how poised he's become in the pocket, and plays like this show it. The Ravens run a little stunt here, having Kyle Van Noy back off into zone and Kyle Hamilton blitz, which forces Malik Willis to create a new pocket, having to slide to the right side, get away from the pressure and the blitzer. He feels that pressure very well in this play with Hamilton coming in, so when he slides to the right, it creates that entire new pocket, giving him a ton of time to throw. He then finds Romeo Doubs and has an impressive arm angle, basically being completely sideways with his arm to get around that defensive tackle rushing up the middle. An honestly amazing throw and great poise and mobility in that pocket to set up a new pocket for himself to have a clean area to throw to, and that is not something we would have seen in Tennessee because he was once a very limited quarterback. With the Titans, he did not play much, but when he did, Titans fans knew they had almost no chance of winning. He went 1-2 in his 3 starts for the Titans, attempting an average of 16 passes in his 3 games and never crossing 100 yards in those starts, nor throwing a single touchdown pass, with his only win coming against a 3-13-1 Texans team where Derrick Henry had 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, he never really got the chance to truly show what he can do. Whenever he was put in the game, the team didn't even want to give him a shot throwing the ball, but it was known that he was a project quarterback coming out of the draft, so he probably wasn't ready. I even made a video on Malik Willis in that draft, saying he was my favorite quarterback of the class, but that he was raw and needed the right coaching to fix his obvious issues, and Matt LaFleur was the guy to help him. After being traded to Green Bay in 2024, we saw immediate success from Malik. While still feeling like a limited player at times in his starts with the Packers at first, he won both of them. LaFleur helped fix his mechanics that felt all over the place at times. That was evident in his throwing motion and how his statistics improved in his limited time in Green Bay. This past regular season, he was 3rd in PFF passing grade at 90.3, 1st in big time throw percentage at 8.3%. He had a 22 completion percentage over expected. He had a 0.55 EPA per play and had no turnover-worthy plays while having the 4th highest average depth of target at 9.7 yards. It's safe to say that maybe these are inflated because of his limited sample size, and that's very fair to say, but he was pushing the ball downfield, making plays whenever the offense needed to. If there's one major difference in his game I have to point out, it's his deep ball accuracy, which was an issue in Tennessee and in college. On his first pass attempt against the Ravens, they were showing single high coverage with Romeo Doubs at the bottom of your screen as the lone receiver. He's pretty well covered off the snap on this play, and this is just a perfect ball. It's right around Nate Wiggins, who again was all over Doubs, and it was to the inside, and with how Wiggins was covering this, he had no shot at this ball. Willis can make throws in the pocket, or while on the move as we saw earlier in this video. It's because of that arm talent, but also the coaching it's received from this amazing offensive staff for the Packers. I don't think there was a more perfect situation for him to go to help fix his issues. He hits his back foot on the drop back, finds the advantage against a single high coverage, and he just lets it rip 40 yards downfield right into the receiver's hands. Beautiful. Not a lot of quarterbacks can make a throw that accurate on a ball that far away. Another great deep ball in the Ravens game came on this play, once again against single high coverage. Bo Melton, who the Packers actually made a cornerback for a little bit, is going to be running the sluggo on this route, which loses Nate Wiggins in the coverage, beating him as soon as he cuts back outside, but the safety is reading Willis's eyes, and when he's at the vertex of his throwing motion, he's running over to help Wiggins. But Malik knows this, so watch where he places this ball. When the ball is complete, it's right around the 18-yard line and into the breadbasket for Melton to make this catch. If he led this ball any further downfield, and I'm talking 2 to 3 yards further, Malachi Starks is going to be able to make a play on it. But placing it in that spot, away from the corner for one, and right on the money so the safety cannot catch up to the play, is what led to this being a 34-yard completion. Sure, Melton beat his man, he did his job, but the throw in this situation needs to be so perfect so he has an opportunity to come down with this. A lot of quarterbacks might throw an incompletion or even interception here, trying to lead him further downfield going for more yardage. Willis knew exactly where to place the ball to guarantee a first down in the red zone, so Malachi Starks doesn't make a play on it and Nate Wiggins cannot recover. Truly amazing arm talent, because that's just a scary arm. He truly has the talent to make any throw, and this throw against the Bears shows that. Chicago absolutely blows the coverage, leaving Christian Watson wide open. But I'd like to believe that he was not the first or second read, as majority of the routes were to the field side, and Romeo Doubs was open on this play too. As soon as Malik hits his back foot, he's winding up his arm to throw to Luke Musgrave on a crosser, and look at the velocity on this ball as it goes over the linebacker's head. That is a straight missile right on the numbers. Now, you may judge Willis for not seeing Watson, but that's how reads work. Sometimes you don't make your way over to someone because the first or second read is wide open. And with the arm that Malik Willis has, he can make that throw look easier than it was. It wasn't the hardest throw in the world, but he bullets it right over TJ Edwards, a talented linebacker who could have jumped up and made a play if he was looking that way or something of that nature, but he just bullets it right over him with a velocity I haven't seen in a while. But Malik has improved a lot since coming to the league, thanks to the Packers organization in my opinion. He's an unrestricted free agent this offseason, and many teams will be interested in his services, but I think it comes down to two main contenders. But I want to talk about the teams that may make an offer at Willis, but I don't think they have a real shot at getting him. And those teams are the Cleveland Browns, Minnesota Vikings, New York Jets, and Indianapolis Colts if Daniel Jones goes elsewhere. All are potentially quarterback-needy teams. I say potentially because the Colts and Vikings, maybe the Vikings just want to run it back with J.J. McCarthy. Who knows, in all honesty? But the Browns could use his services. We don't know what's up with their quarterback situation with Shedeur Sanders. And the Jets signed Justin Fields last offseason. But the two teams that I think have a real shot at getting Willis are the Miami Dolphins and Arizona Cardinals, and here's why. The Dolphins just cleared up a ton of money after cutting Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, James Daniels, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. They're clearly in rebuild mode, but in a draft class with not a lot of top-tier quarterback talent after Fernando Mendoza, it's not worth it to use a first-round pick or an early first-round pick on one of the remaining prospects. There's also a chance they find a way to get out of some of the Tua Tagovailoa money, who will not be the starter in Miami next year, so Willis makes the most sense. But the real reason? The Green Bay Packer connections. The new head coach is Jeff Hafley, and the GM, John Eric Sullivan, both were with Green Bay last year as the defensive coordinator and VP of player personnel. They know what Malik Willis can bring to the table, as they saw it in the building every day. Will find ways to make life easy on him like Green Bay did with their scheme, because they know what works for him, and they can help offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick figure out how they can game plan with him as their quarterback. Have a solid supporting cast around him with Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane, and he could just be the bridge quarterback for this team. Or he could revive his career, as we've seen with many quarterbacks. Recently, Sam Darnold, the Super Bowl champion of the Seattle Seahawks. The other team is the Arizona Cardinals, under new head coach Mike LaFleur, brother of Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, of course. All he has to do is hang out with his brother, drink a glass of bourbon for a night, and talk about why Malik Willis is the guy for this team. This is all assuming they move off of Kyler Murray when the new league year starts. This is a potentially stacked receiver room to help Malik Willis develop even more, featuring Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, and Michael Wilson. And who knows what the Cardinals' plan is at quarterback. They have a very high pick in this draft, and they're not going to be taking Ty Simpson with it, so he could just be the bridge guy for a rebuilding team trying to find a new direction under a new regime. No one knows what truly is the role for Malik Willis from here on out, but I think I know what the deal will look like. I think it's most likely the Justin Fields deal from last offseason. 2 years, around $40 million, but I'd have to assume there's an out after the 2026 season, just in case his limited time in Green Bay was just a flash in the pan and not the reality. And this offseason is going to be filled with drama, as they always are. But I think it's going to start with the quarterback darling of this spring in Malik Willis.